The 2023 WNBA regular season tips off tonight. We've got everything you need to know right here on Hoop Talks. Hey, welcome into Hoop Talks. I'm Crina Mustafa, joined by Jelani Goodridge-Reid.
What's
the
up?
vibes are good.
They are.
The WNBA is back. I'm very excited. We've got 4 games tonight to open up. I'll see if I'm still awake by the last one.
But you better be.
I'll try. But Jelani's going to hold me accountable. But we've got 4 matchups tonight. We're going to break them all down, kind of what we're expecting, what are the kind of the vibes heading. Opening night is always kind of funky, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I'm going to be watching for sure. I know that there's NBA playoffs on, but I still got the laptop. So I'll have the laptop.
Exactly.
I'll have the TV going. So yeah, I'll be good. We'll be good. A lot of basketball tonight.
That's the good thing about WNBA League Pass, because then you could just watch multiple
easy.
games at one time. So it's great. But first matchup of the night is going to be the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever at 7 p.m. Eastern. Aliyah Boston, the #1 draft pick. She's going to make her regular season debut with the Fever tonight. Jelani, how excited should we be for that? Do you expect, obviously she's coming from South Carolina, where she had a very, very good tenure with the Gamecocks, had a national championship, won Player of the Year, all of that. Now she's in the W. Do you expect her dominance on in the paint and on the glass to continue?
Well, it's gonna be tough. Okay,
Yeah.
This is the pros now. All right, it's not the same people you're playing against in the collegiate level. But when we saw her get to South Carolina, she was immediately a difference maker, and I think that's what's gonna happen in Indiana. The Fever, they haven't been in the playoffs in a long time. Okay, 2016, so it's been a minute, right? But I see a new culture now. I think the Fever. A lot of people are saying, you know what, they might not be a title contender at all this season, but they're going to make some noise, and it's because of her. I really think that Boston's going to come in and be a really dynamic player. She's obviously the favorite for Rookie of the Year. That's what a lot of people believe will happen. But yeah, I think the game plan that the other teams are gonna, they're gonna have to key in on her, because we see what you talked about, right? Inside, she is a menace. All right, she could rebound the basketball, scorer, and defense. So that's why she's such a great prospect. But yeah, I think it's gonna take some time, because the adjustment, right, going to the pros.
Especially the team that they're facing against tonight, the Connecticut Sun. I mean, you look at this roster, they have Brianna Jones, they have Alyssa Thomas, they have DeWanna Bonner. That is no easy task to play. I feel like this is going to be the wake-up call. This is your welcome to the W moment tonight for Aliyah Boston. But I'm so excited, because I think she's absolutely going to thrive. I know a lot of people have the Fever not making the playoffs this year, because that's kind of in the track record.
Do you think so? Do you think they can make it?
I don't know. I just have this feeling that they're either gonna lose a bunch of games really closely and be we almost could have won
and be
those.
Entertaining in those matchups.
Exactly. They won't be blowout losses.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna actually win those games.
I'm gonna go with the first option. I think they're gonna be competitive, but I don't see it right now. I don't see it right now. But soon. Probably in the next, give them a couple years.
Yeah, maybe even after next year's draft class, which is going to be extremely deep.
Stacked,
that'll be important too. Which team's going to be maybe we should lose, just by a little bit.
We'll see what happens down the stretch of the season, but there are going to be teams that are you know what, the class coming up is going to be different, so maybe we take a step back. You know what I mean? So that might be Indiana, might not be, right? Because they might make a playoff push. You never know.
Yeah, so we'll see. But all the games tonight, by the way, I should quickly mention, they are on WNBA League Pass in Canada. So if you haven't purchased that one yet, go do it. It's only $25. So it's a great deal. But moving on to the next matchup, the New York Liberty and the Washington Mystics.
Your team.
My
New York,
team.
stand up.
My team.
New York, stand up.
Look at them. They're beautiful.
Shout out Brooklyn.
But this is very interesting that this is the opening night matchup, because these are 2 of the top 3 contenders in the league right now. I'd say we talked about last week how the Mystics are kind of a sneaky pick, and it seems like the New York Liberty officially have a pretty clean injury report. There was some concern earlier whether Courtney Vandersloot would play, whether Jonquel Jones would play, but they're ready to go for tonight. So we might see what an almost full Liberty team would look like against the Mystics. What are you expecting tonight?
Well, you see with this super team thing, right? Sometimes you'll see them start really hot. We see this in multiple sports. You might see them start, firing on all cylinders because you got so much talent there. But at the same time, there's a prospect. There's still a possibility that given all the talent that you have, you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to see how they mesh, see how they fit, right? What systems should be put in place given all the talent that's coming in, right? So I think it's going to be a slower start, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be shocked if they start off, winning games left and right, but just looking at the system, seeing how they're going to fit moving forward, because you're bringing in the best of the best, right? So I want to see how that's going to work. I think it's going to be smooth sailing down the line this season, but just because it's going to be, it's a new scenery for multiple players on that squad now. And look, I love it though. I love that New York, look, this is the biggest city, right? You got the biggest names. I truly believe this is good for the W. And we've seen super teams before in the past, right? With the Comets a long time ago. That was a super team. You might look at Detroit when they were up.
Even the Minnesota Lynx.
Minnesota, I was going to say that too, but the difference there, that was more of draft, right? That was through the draft. The Mercury, you wouldn't say that they were a super team, but the way that they got Griner, right? They had a year off with Diana taking that year off. They got in. So this is multiple superstars coming together. I want to see how this is going to work. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I think for me also the Liberty, staying healthy is going to be one of their biggest X factors for this season, because already at the beginning of training camp, I was nervous with Courtney Vandersloot heading into concussion protocol, and even Jonquil was struggling with something. But hopefully, as long as they also stay healthy and they spend some time together on the court, I think their offense is going to be amazing. And I'm excited for their defense with Stewie obviously being former defensive player of the year, Jonquil Jones. it's just, amazing. But I can't wait for that. So that's must watch. That's also at 7 p.m. So it's kind of battling with the Fever matchup. So we'll see
I might lean towards this one, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. just because I want to see how they're going to play. And Washington, that's the team I think is really, a contender. I think I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if they do it all. Yeah. Because Deladon, if she's healthy, she had a nice off season, right? She's back. If she can play the way we know she can play, and remember, they have multiple players on that squad that were there in 2019. Championship experience, very important.
Very, very true. All right, I'm excited for that one. You can tell Jelani's excited for that one too. And then moving on to the third matchup of the night, which is actually a rematch of last week's Canada game, which is kind of convenient in a way. Chicago Sky versus Minnesota Lynx. As you guys might recall, the Chicago Sky did take the win in Toronto last week at Scotiabank Arena. Do you think that Minnesota kind of takes from that experience and figures out how to win at home now?
I do. I think so. So if that's going to be my pick, I think the Lynx get it done tonight. Player I'm looking at, obviously, Diamond Miller, right? Because Maryland, she was fantastic, 20 points per game. She also did it in rebounding with 6 per game. And then you're looking at how she also was good in terms of assists. So she's a playmaker. The Lynx need that, right? Because when you're looking across the board, they've been one of the more, one of the better teams over the last decade, but now they're in a new era, and she's going to have to be one of those faces. They're a lot younger than they used to be. So with her, I think they're going to have a new element, a new dynamic. And tonight, I want to see how she performs, because this is going to be her debut in the regular season. We did see her obviously in that Canada game, just trying to I think everyone was trying to feel it out. It was a feel out process. It was so hyped. The nerves were there early too.
They'd never experienced Scotiabank Arena before. Yeah,
and it was packed. It was sold out. So I think though tonight you're gonna have to see how she looks against the against the pros. She's already played them like I said in the preseason, but this is different. Regular season now.
Absolutely. And I mean, they both teams, Chicago and Minnesota, they made some uncomfortable cuts to their roster this week, including for Chicago Sky, they cut Kayana Taylor, who I really thought was going to be a lock for this squad. She absolutely performed in front of Scotiabank Arena, and I thought Coach James Wade, James Wade spoke very highly of her. So yeah, I'm hoping she'll end up on a roster. I think there's no doubt about that. And I think teams also have the option to bring back players during the season on hardship contracts. They have different rules. So don't fret if your favorite player or one of your faves got cut this week. Don't be scared, because there is a chance that the team could still bring them back. So so that's going to be exciting. Moving on to the last matchup, the Phoenix Mercury, the LA Sparks. We know Brittany Griner is returning to the court in regular season for the first time in over a year since her wrongful detainment. Real quick before I tee up the video, how much does it mean for her to be back in the W?
I think it's fantastic, right? Because we were waiting for her to come back for so long. You even saw the support with the NBA guys as well. I really think once they start playing, she's going to get back in form. It's going to be a minute because when last time we did see her, all-star, of course, she was doing her thing. But I think it's going to take some time just for her to get back in that form. But she will be back. And I'm happy that she's here. Even the thing with this whole thing is I look between the lines and how the W, to me, out of all the leagues, I think this is the league where they don't care what you got to say. They will stand up for whatever it is, because this is a league led by Black women, LGBTQ sort of thing, people from just different walks of life. So I think they've always been able, W players have always been able to speak up, and that's what I like about this league. So that's why I'm glad she's back.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about the sisterhood, and they're going to face the LA Sparks. And speaking of sisterhood, they did put together this lovely video from the W and the Sparks together to say welcome back to BG.
BG is back. What I love about having BG back on the floor is that basketball is her safe space. Growing up in Houston, Texas, together alongside my sister, we've followed her careers closely. We've supported each other. And just to have her back, it just means the world to us.
Welcome back, BG. One part of BG's game that I wish I had was definitely her capability to dunk at any point in time.
Welcome back, BG.
What I'm most looking forward to about having BG back on the floor is her dominance in the paint and making everybody else rise up their level of play. We definitely missed her.
Welcome back, BG.
There wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about her and pray for her and just her mental health and her well-being. So to see her back on the court right now and just to be able to physically see her is going to be, I don't think words will describe the feeling, but I'm looking forward most to just giving her a nice hug. BG is back.
All right, so we saw that the tip-off is kind of late. It's 11 p.m. Eastern for us here on the east side.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be a matchup that we're all going to be up to watch just to see her back on the court, what it means. I think, it's going to be an exciting night of hoops.
Oh, for sure.
I'm very excited, but the Sparks and the Mercury are two teams that I actually not to take away from what we just talked about. I think these are two teams that don't make the playoffs this year.
Oh, because I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on Phoenix specifically? Right?
Listen, any team that has Brittany Griner on it, that has as you can see in the back, Brianna Turner, Sophie Cunningham, Diana Taurasi, automatically they are in some sort of contention. My concern is mostly that Skylar Jenkins-Smith is still on maternity leave. We don't know when she's coming back. We don't know what the squad really looks like. So I'm a little bit iffy to put them in the top 8.
That's your anchor. That's your floor general right there. And
she played the best guard in the league last year, and I'm very firmly on that.
I'm a big fan of hers, and without her, it's gonna be a different look, right? A different feel. So maybe because I was wondering, are they on the outside looking in this season, right? So maybe. Okay, Crina says they might not make it. I trust her word on this one for sure.
And then also the Sparks, I think they also didn't make the playoffs last year. They're just kind of figuring things out right now.
I don't know their direction.
They don't really have an identity where you're really sure about their direction. Obviously, we have the Gumake sisters back together, which I think was the biggest thing they needed to check off in the offseason. Make sure you bring back both of them, because I think it would have been even worse if they let any of them slip away. But I always love seeing them play together, and I'll stay up. I'll stay up for this matchup.
Look, sometimes the West Coast does not care about the East Coast.
Yeah.
We've seen it with the times, but I'll be watching. We will be there.
We'll be watching.
Yeah.
Also, I did want to mention this matchup will also be on ESPN in the States, which is huge. Yeah. I think the Mercury have quite a bit of games on ESPN following the next few days. So make sure to tune into ESPN if you're in the States. League Pass if you're in Canada. It's WNBA opening night. We're so excited. I've been Crina with Jelani, and this has been Hoop Talks.